Hi. With your sustainability research summary draft coming up, what we're going to focus on in this tutorial are some skills related to research strategies, credibility, and a little bit about documentation. So let's get started here. Research strategies. When we are looking for sources online, whether you're using a search engine like Google or another one, the old expression is garbage in, garbage out. So in other words, you will not get good results if you are not using good search terms. And the best search terms are search terms that are as specific as possible. If you do an initial search and you get gazillions of hits, that's telling you something about your search terms. It's telling you to be more specific. One very, very simple technique is to enclose a specific phrase with double quotation marks. So I'm going to illustrate some of this coming up here. All right, so here's an initial search here. Let's say I'm in the massage therapy program. I've got this sustainability research summary coming up, and I decide I'm going to type these 3 words into the Google search bar. And I hit enter. And here's the problem. I've got 6.8 million hits, which is telling me that's a crummy set of search terms. One way that we can improve on that immensely is by using the double quotation marks. So now I'm putting double quotation marks around the phrase massage therapy. What that's telling Google is that you want that exact phrase, massage therapy, not just all of the hits that include both of those words, but that exact phrase, and then we've added outside the quotation marks the word sustainability. So if we hit enter on that search, we've cut our number of results down by a factor of almost 50%, but it's still way too many. So we're thinking about how to make our search more focused, and one thing that we can do is to make it more focused in geographic terms. So here I've got massage therapy in double quotation marks, the word sustainability, plus the word Canada. And now I'm down to 2.4 million hits. So you see we're heading in the right direction here, but this is still awfully general, and that's telling us that we've still got kind of a low quality search. So we could keep going here. Now we are going to be more geographically specific. I've got massage therapy, sustainability, and Ontario. And you can see I'm down to about 500,000 hits. So this is still a lot of hits to be starting with. And if it was me, the next thing I would do would be to see what would happen if I type in Peterborough instead of Ontario and go from there. Or you may think of another phrase that is more specific than sustainability. It might be sustainable business or something like that. Anyways, I think you get the right idea here. So let's talk about credible sources here. So I've got 2 links up on the screen here. The first one is obviously from a YouTube video, and you can paste this link over and look at it on your own. Here's a screenshot from it. This is interesting because it's a fairly realistic, professional-looking video about some high-powered genetic technologies, which actually don't exist yet. And it's part of a set of videos from a hoax hospital website called Duane Medical Center. Now, the reason why I've put this example in front of you is that it is entirely realistic and plausible looking. The second link is to a website. This is something called the Ova Prima Foundation. Again, very professional looking, has lots of different links. It has all of the appearance of legitimacy, but it is a hoax website, and it's essentially someone's creation based on the old expression, which came first, the chicken or the egg. So the lesson here is that we cannot count on the look of a website to tell us whether it is real or credible, or in fact, even a YouTube video from the example here. So how can we sharpen our skills with respect to credibility? Here are some tips. First one is to ask whether the information that you're looking at is up to date. The problem here is that you will see some web-based content that has a publication date next to a particular article or post on a website, but more often than not, you don't. So how do you know when information on a website was last updated? The way to do this is to go back to the home page for the website, scroll down to the very bottom of the page, and somewhere down there in a very small font, you're going to see the phrase last updated, and there will be a date. So that's what you're going to go on in terms of how recent the material is. And in fact, if you are going to cite that source in your piece of writing and then reference it at the end, this is the date that you need. The second point we've got here is author credentials. In other words, we're asking who wrote the piece that you're looking at and what are their credentials. Again, a lot of web-based content does not include the name of a specific author. If it does, that's terrific, and often what you can do as well is to click on the author's name to see a biography or to see what their credentials are. What do we mean by credentials? Is this person a recognized expert to be going on about whatever the topic is related to sustainability? Are they, for instance, a professor at a university or something like that? Okay. If you don't have the name of a specific person, an author, then what you need to rely on is the credibility of the organization that posted the information. In other words, maybe the organization is to pull an example out of a hat, the Canadian Heart and Stroke Foundation. Look it up. It's known to be a reputable organization, respectable, people take it seriously. Third point here is links. And if you're looking at a website you're not familiar with, you want to see whether the articles are supported by links to other information. Are the links live? Are the links taking you to other information which is up to date and recent? The fourth point we've got here is what I'm calling IP address extensions. And here we're talking about normally the three-letter extension that is at the end of a URL. .org, .com, .eu, .net. Those can tell you something in a kind of fundamental way about the purpose of a website. So a .org website is a nonprofit website. .com is a for-profit website. So in other words, however good the information is that you're looking at, it's up there to make money for somebody. .edu is used in the United States for a lot of educational institutions. .net is another type of three-letter extension that we see for nonprofit organizations or charities. The last point we got here basically is asking, is the material you're reading coherent and balanced? By coherent, we mean, is it understandable? Does it make sense? Balanced means, is the person writing in an objective fashion, or does it seem to be slanted towards persuading you to believe one thing over another? So these are all important things to look for when you're trying to judge the credibility of web-based information. So the question of Wikipedia always comes up, and you were probably told in secondary school not to use Wikipedia as a source for research. We at Fleming College follow that rule as well, and the reason why we cannot consider Wikipedia a credible source is that it is a wiki page. In other words, wiki means user editable. Anybody within certain parameters, checks and balances, anybody can post anything on Wikipedia, and in fact hackers on a daily basis make a sport of posting false information on Wikipedia and seeing how long it takes for folks to catch it. So that's why we cannot use it as a credible research source. Okay, so we're on to our third topic in this tutorial, and that is citing and documenting the sources that we use when we do research. So let's just start at the very basics here. When you want to use someone's exact words, you put those exact words within quotation marks. So the double quotation marks indicate where their exact words begin and end. And then at the end of each quotation, we have what's known as the in-text citation. It's in brackets, and it always includes 3 pieces of information: the author's last name, the date of publication or posting, and the page or paragraph number. So there's an example here, Jones 2015, para 2. So para is the abbreviation for paragraph. The reason why we're listing it as a paragraph number is that presumably it's an online source like a website where there are no meaningful page numbers. So what we're doing is we're counting down from the beginning of that page to the paragraph in which you find the information that you would like to quote. And then at the end of your document, you have a list called references, and that's where you have all of the sources that you've used, and you are citing them in a more complete fashion than the in-text citation. What needs to be cited? You can see here that most things that you're going to use need to be cited. Obviously, you need to cite quotations. If you paraphrase someone, in other words, you don't use their exact words, but you use their ideas, it's not in quotation marks, but you still need to cite it because you are borrowing their ideas. Visual information, statistics, graphs, charts, maps, diagrams, etc. All of that kind of audio-visual information needs to be cited. If you're making reference to an event or a fact or a phenomenon that is not widely known or widely acknowledged, in other words, it's not common knowledge, then you need to cite that. Some common questions about documentation. Why do I have to bother with in-text citations? Can't I just list them all on the back page? And the answer is no. The reason why we plug in-text citations throughout our assignment is that it tells your reader specifically where and when you have used source information to support what you're doing. So that's why we need the in-text citations right where you are using the information, and then we also need them on the references page. Another question. If I put borrowed ideas into my own words, do I still have to cite them? And the answer is yes, because they're not your ideas. They are borrowed. Thank you very much.